What if we watched? The new alliance brings together Iran and the new Syria. Ahmad al-Shar's Syria. Will the new regime in Syria join hands with Iran? This question might seem impossible to everyone, but what the Israeli army is doing today in southern Syria could completely change the rules of the game. Israel is intervening militarily under the pretext of protecting the separatists, and the new Syrian response might exceed all these expectations. It could be a surprise to the whole world. Today, we will reveal to you how Israel is paving the way for the emergence of the mighty army of the Levant, and we will show you why the new Syria has become the toughest variable in the equation of the entity's demise. Stay tuned, we'll continue after the break. Stay with us. Dear viewers, peace be upon you and God's mercy and blessings. Eid Mubarak and welcome to this new episode with us today, God willing. From the series of opinion episodes that we always dedicate to keeping up with the latest developments in this war on Iran. So the first thing we will start with today, dear viewers, is this dangerous escalation of the war, which clearly now may expand to involve other parties in this conflict. The Israeli army was not satisfied with the aggression it is carrying out today against Iran or Lebanon, and before that against the Gaza Strip. Today, it is launching a new aggression, and this time against Syria. Today, the Israeli army carried out a series of airstrikes targeting Syrian army positions, including command headquarters, weapons depots, and other military centers located in southern Syria. The Israeli pretext was to protect the Druze community in the Swaida area. The Israeli entities said that this attack came as a response because the Syrian army carried out an attack on the Swaida area. So this matter, as everyone knows, is an internal Syrian affair. There is a Syrian government working to reunify the country, and there is a group of separatists controlling and occupying areas in Swaida. So when the Syrian army intervenes to establish control over the entire territory of the country, and thus unify the country, it remains an internal matter that concerns only Syria. And this is what every country in the world does without exception, meaning when they pursue separatists and prevent separatist movements and their activities and so on. But today, this Israeli entity comes to appoint itself as the protector of this and this separatist group. Israeli Defense Minister Katz made a statement, saying we will not allow the Syrian regime to exploit the war we are waging against Iran and Lebanon in order to target the Druze. Does he mean the separatists in Swaida? And he said we will attack Syria with greater force if necessary, meaning if the Syrian army continues such general operations aimed at unifying the country. So this new development leads us today to perhaps propose, a very interesting scenario that we might witness as this dangerous escalation continues. This scenario is the new Syria forming an alliance with Iran. What if it happens? Is there an Iranian-Syrian alliance? Anything is possible. When Iran was supporting the previous Syrian regime, the criminal Bashar al-Assad, it was not supporting him ideologically, and it was not standing with him against Sunni Muslims, not at all. Iran had its own interests. Those interests required Iran to support Bashar al-Assad's regime in order to maintain its logistical support route to Lebanon, to the Lebanese Hezbollah. Because as they know, when the revolution started in Syria, there were a number of intervening parties from different countries. Each party supported a sect, supported a group. Each had a specific goal, of course, behind this support. This is part of intervening in Syrian affairs. Among these goals at the time, there was a main goal to cut off the connection route between Iran and Lebanon. The Iranian intervention came about 2 or 3 years after the start of the Syrian revolution, and it came after almost all parties had already intervened in Syria. American intervention, Israeli intervention, European, Gulf, Turkish intervention, and so on. And it came only to protect these interests, as I said, to protect the only land route from Iran to Lebanon. So today we see that some people say this is impossible, that the new Syrian regime, which came out of this Syrian revolution, cannot join hands with Iran. But here we have to ask the question, isn't Russia also like Iran? Wasn't Russia also a supporter of Bashar al-Assad against the revolutionaries? And it carried out hundreds of airstrikes on unarmed civilians in Syria. Wasn't Russia also a reason for the displacement of millions from Syria? Definitely yes, and Russia was also protecting its interests here. Nevertheless, we saw how the new Syrian regime, Ahmad al-Shara, joined hands with the Russians. There were visits, there were meetings and talk about upcoming arms deals and so on. Why? Because politics requires that. It requires a kind of pragmatism so that Syria can ensure its independence, not be subject to a particular side, and have international balance. And at the same time, so that it can benefit as much as possible, whether from America or from Russia together. Today is the same thing with Iran. Interests are what can bring Syrians and Iranians closer together. Because today, these provocations carried out by this Israeli entity might lead the new Syria to reconsider. I mean, seriously, why should we keep playing the role of the police in the region for its benefit? While Israel today even refuses to allow the unification of Syrian territories, it strikes, kills and destroys whatever it wants in Syria. Why should we keep antagonizing this Islamic state? Iran? While we can unify efforts with it, we can benefit from it in terms of missiles, drones, tunnels and so on, and thus unify our efforts, the efforts of Muslims. So pay close attention. Today we are quickly approaching the end of this entire Israeli entity. And the end of this Israeli entity will never come only through ballistic missiles coming from Iran. That is, from a distance of about 1,000 kilometers or 1,500 kilometers. This scenario of demise will definitely involve the presence of a massive ground army that will play this role. The liberation of Islamic lands from the Israeli entity is near today. Because when we look at the map of the region, we find that there is only one army that can play this role, and that is the Syrian army. Today, this army is the strongest in the region in terms of ideology. And if this scenario happens, we will witness the return of Al-Sham, we will witness the return of the Levant, which throughout history was united, all these countries in one state. Therefore, when we see these developments and these Israeli provocations and these fronts that Israel is opening today with almost every country in the region, we know that there are divine matters being prepared now in order to achieve this scenario, the scenario of disappearance. Therefore, these provocations might be the reason for a rapprochement between Iran and the new Syria. So the war we are witnessing today, if it does not stop as soon as possible, rest assured that we will see or witness the involvement of other parties, and we will witness the expansion of the war. There are those who will stand with Iran and with what is right, and there are those who will choose to stand with falsehood and with the Israeli entity in the region. That's one side. On the other hand, today we see this Israeli entity. Today they carried out an airstrike on the crew of the Russian RT channel. They carried out an airstrike on a press crew from the Russian RT channel. They were doing a live broadcast to cover this war in Lebanon, and they survived this incident. This Russian crew survived miraculously. The important thing is that Russia submitted an official protest through the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and demanded an investigation and that such incidents not be repeated. They said that Russian journalists are a red line. So pay close attention. There are things we talked about that bring us closer to exciting events coming up. Also today, dear viewers, there was a suspicious development. In fact, Iran sent a truly terrifying message to the Epstein Alliance, a message that was both clear and shocking at the same time. The message is that any American or Israeli official, meaning from the Epstein alliance, will no longer be safe anywhere in the world. The spokesperson for the Iranian army, Abul Fazl Shekarchi, said that the Iranian army has a large reservoir of information about the whereabouts of American and Israeli officials all over the world. He said that today the Iranian army is monitoring. He said that from today they will no longer be safe, and he made a very serious statement. This statement came after a tweet on the X platform from the new Iranian supreme leader. Mojtaba Khamenei called on Iranian intelligence agencies to target enemies inside and outside the country, wherever they are found. No one knows for sure how this targeting will happen, or in which country in the world it will take place. And where exactly? And how will that affect this war? What is clear today is that Iran is applying the policy of an eye for an eye. You hit the leadership, we will hit the leadership. You hit intelligence, we will hit intelligence. You hit energy facilities, we will hit energy facilities, and so on. So, the observation today in this war, and in fact, it represents one of the most important turning points the world has seen since World War II. Many things have happened that are considered a transformation today. After they used to say that Iran was finished, we discover every day during this war that the Epstein alliance is the one approaching its end. Today, we discovered that all the American military bases in the region have been destroyed. We discovered that the F-35 jets, the pride of American industry, have started to fall to one of the cheapest air defense systems ever, and it's locally made. With Iranian hands, we discovered that Iran also succeeded in destroying more than 11 warplanes, meaning that since the beginning of this war, more than 11 planes. We discovered that the American aircraft carrier, which was always described in the media and in all Hollywood movies and so on as the strongest ever, America's strike force, we discovered that today it is unable even to approach the Iranian coasts. After it used to stand 500 kilometers from the Iranian coast, it started to stand 1,000 kilometers or more away, out of fear of Iranian missiles. While some of these aircraft carriers are out of service today, returning to America for repairs. We used to think that there were American military bases in the Arabian Gulf region, but this war revealed to us that it is the Arabian Gulf region that exists inside the American military bases. I mean, considering the size and usual presence of these American military bases, we used to see advertisements for Gulf energy companies, huge ads like Aramco, Qatar Energy, and ADNOC. And we thought that the Gulf countries have independence in extracting oil and gas since they have such major companies. But then this war revealed that all these companies are just names on a facade. I mean, without America, without the American companies, there would be no oil or gas. And we discovered the opposite, that Iran is the only country in the region whose oil and gas are managed with its own capabilities and resources. So honestly, this war has revealed many things, and we're still at the beginning. Every day of this war brings surprises, developments, and scandals being exposed for the first time. Of course, we are always here to keep you updated. God willing, Eid Mubarak, and best wishes to you. Don't forget to subscribe and hit the like button. Peace be upon you, and God's mercy and blessings. See you next time.